Would you like fries with that? Stick around to find out. Hi there, and thanks for checking us out. If this is your first time here, I strongly recommend you go back to episode 1 and find out why I'm doing this. If you don't know the why, you only know half the picture. So back in episode 2, you might recall that I had to build a prototype of the shed that I was going to build this year. My goals in the redesign were to try to reduce the amount of time I spent building a shed so that each shed would be more profitable without having to raise the price. So I went out and bought a bunch of materials and I got to work. Now, all in all, I probably spent about 12 hours building this shed, which is twice as long as I want it to be. But I did spend a lot of time trying different ways of doing different things to try to find the best combination of methods and materials that would build a strong, sturdy, good-looking shed in the least amount of time possible. As I was building this shed, I was also thinking about something a customer who bought one last year told me, and is a sales strategy that has been around for years. He also has his own business, and as I was assembling his shed for him, he was telling me about ways he looks to add fries to as many sales as he can. Now, of course, he was referring to McDonald's, who asks every customer that doesn't ask for fries, "Would you like fries with that?" McDonald's makes millions of extra dollars every year by simply asking every customer that question. And although the percentage of the people that might say yes is small, multiply that by the millions of times it's asked every day, and the numbers become big quickly. And the psychology is quite simple. People are already buying from you, so they already like the product they're getting, and maybe they might like another product or add-on that you have to offer. One of the number one rules in sales is ask for the business. What are my fries? And the answer was that I had none, so I thought I should come up with some, which I did. There's going to be 3 things that I'm going to try to sell alongside of my sheds that are add-ons to it. The first will be upgrading the handles from the pressed metal ones that I currently use to cast iron handles. The second will be to add swinging doors instead of sliding doors, although in truth, I like the sliders better myself, but some people prefer the swinging doors. And lastly, we'll paint your shed for you. Let's talk about that one for a moment because it really is a win-win. Painting the shed makes it last longer, provides better protection for the wood from the elements, and enhances the overall look of the shed. More importantly, the amount of paint needed is not that much, nowhere near a full can. So if a customer wants to do it themselves, they can, but since they will need to buy a full can of paint, the cost for them to do it themselves will be $50 or $60 plus their time. We'll do it for $75. So for just $10 or $15 more, they save themselves 2 or 3 hours of work, and they don't have 2/3 of a can of paint left over that they probably have no need for. Now when we do it, it doesn't take 2 or 3 hours because we can paint the parts with a paint sprayer before they're even assembled, which means we don't have to be careful about getting paint on panels or trim or vice versa. We do not need to tape up any areas or mask off any hinges or handles. So what is a laborious process for the customer is actually quite quick for us. So back in episode 2, I said my goal was to sell 1 shed a week from April 1st to April 30th. Now, so far this year, I haven't spent any money on advertising. I haven't even put an ad up on Facebook. However, through my website and through my Facebook page, and drumroll please, I've already sold 3 sheds. 2 found out about us through our website, and 1 came through Facebook. So I've sold the prototype and have 2 more to build and deliver. It's kind of like a head start on my goal for this stream. If I miss selling 1 between April and September, I have 3 in the bank. I also had 1 more sale this week for a cutting board. A guy reached out to me through the Etsy store asking if I can make a Lazy Susan similar to a pattern that is already in one of my cutting boards, which we have for sale, and of course I can. In our communications, I mentioned that the weaving process used in the cutting board he liked actually produces 2 weaves. So he said, "Oh, maybe you can make me a matching cutting board as well." And just like that, 1 sale turned into 2. So it's been a banner week here. This week, I'm going to post an ad for the sheds on Facebook Marketplace and see what happens, and depending on the results, I might put a bit of money into advertising as well. So from here on in, I'm going to put up a scorecard at the end of each episode that shows the progress I've made towards the goals that I'm trying to achieve. So this week, in the shed category, we sold 1 shed, for a profit of about $200. We would have probably made more, but I had to spend extra money on some materials to try different things as I was building the prototype. But $200 towards the $7,000 that I'm trying to earn. Now I've also sold 2 more, but I'm not going to count that money until it's actually in the bank because you never know what might happen. So I'm at 200 out of 7,000 for the sheds. Now for the cutting boards, I sold $200 worth of those for a profit of about $150 towards the goal of $2,000. And t-shirts, I've sold nothing. But that's okay. I didn't really expect to because I haven't done any work marketing or trying to sell those actively yet. So I'm not too worried about that one. So that's where I stand so far, and we'll see where we wind up next week. So that's it for this week. Thanks for checking us out. If you haven't already and wouldn't mind clicking the like or the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. And make sure to tune in next week when we'll be talking about either the results of my sales efforts this week or some of the more practical things that I've done to keep myself organized. So until then, have a great week.